Okay, you're all set.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Nikisha, and thank you to the Long Branch Public Library for having me. My name is Chef Rob. I live out on Long Island, out in Hampton Bays, so I am probably about 3.5 hours, that's with good traffic, from your library. But I know Long Branch very, very well. I grew up in the 80s visiting when you had the Haunted Mansion, when you had the water slides there, the boardwalk. We had a lot of fun there. So I know exactly where you are. And one day when I'm passing by, Nikisha, don't be surprised if I just get off that exit. I think it's exit 105, if I'm not mistaken, on Garden State. But I'll get off there and I'll come visit you. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you. So I hope everybody makes this. Please make sure you get the recipe online. Okay, I'm going to go over a lot of different ways that you could serve this, change it up. It has so much summer all over it. I do this program twice a year. I do it in the summertime, and then I do it for the Chinese New Year. So it's also something that can be brought back in February as well. I actually booked this class yesterday for a library on the Chinese New Year. So let's get started, and I'm going to go over about all the different foods, and I'll tell you about myself since we don't know each other, okay? I do want to ask if anybody has Facebook to go to my page, Simply Creative Chef Rob. And if you go to my page, you can watch all the different libraries I do. I do different dishes almost every single night. So I hope you go to my page and watch all these different cooking programs. I do children's classes. I do the little preschoolers too. I do the teens, of course, and then I do the adults. So, okay, I'll get back to some more of that in a little bit. Now, I'm going to show you the orzo pasta. It almost looks like a rice, okay? I have this in a Ziploc bag. I boiled this off. When you are boiling any type of pasta, this is about a pound of pasta. When you are boiling the pasta, always put salt in the water. Salt will give it flavor. Salt is a flavor enhancer, okay? If anybody has any questions or comments, please put them in the chat box. My son, Chris, is filming today, and he would be more than happy to tell me, okay? So I am putting in about a pound. If you could see, it's really loose, the pasta, and it's really tiny. Put a little bit of olive oil in there. Just a touch, just toss it around, and it won't stick. Okay?
Someone asked, can you repeat what you said about the salt? Kids were loud here.
Okay, kids were loud there, huh? Yeah, kids can be loud here too. When you're boiling the pasta, and this pasta, the orzo, you want to put in some salt in any pasta water. It gives it flavor. Because if you ever boil pasta and don't put salt in it and you try the pasta, you're like, I'm eating nothing. But if you just try it with a little salt in the water, it brings it a long way, okay?
She said thanks.
Of course, of course. So we have our boiled and strained and chilled orzo pasta in here. What's really good about this dish is you can put chicken in there. You can put just shrimp in there. You can put the combination of chicken or shrimp, or you could do vegetarian style, okay? A lot of people love their vegetables, as I do. So I'm going to show you different ways to do it. Now, I have some broccoli. The broccoli, what I did with this, I dropped this in some boiling water for about 3 minutes. It still has a nice little snap and crunch to it. If you look at this right here, this broccoli and also these carrots, it probably looks really bright to you. The reason it's really bright is when I boil my vegetables or steam them, I put a little, like a dot of cream of tartar in the water. And what cream of tartar does, it brings out the brightness in the vegetables, but it sacrifices no flavor at all, okay? So when you're having company, even just for family or friends, put a little cream of tartar. Not everybody has that at home, but you can go to the supermarket, buy that little thing like this, and it will last you a couple of years, okay? So I'm gonna cut up some of these vegetables. I want to take this little bit of a stem off right here. You want to cut it into little florets because remember, orzo pasta is tiny. So you want your vegetables to be tiny too. It's almost like where you can eat this with a spoon. Okay, so I'm just going to cut up some of this. I don't have to do all of it now. And you're going to notice how colorful this will get really, really quickly. I use gloves just because I'm used to being in libraries and I use gloves for everything and I always give my patrons the gloves as well. But when I'm here and changing and going to the next thing, I don't have to go wash my hands. I could stay right with you, right with the camera. So as I'm cutting this broccoli here, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. And if you go to my Facebook page, it will certainly tell you there's a YouTube link and it will give you a 22-minute interview with me that my son did with me just from when I started in 3rd grade. And that was when I wanted to be a chef. 3rd grade, I came home and I said to my mom, I said, I want to make a buttermilk chicken tonight. She says, really? And I said, yep. I said, I'm going to become a chef. She says, wow. So I got the stuff. My mom took me to the stores and we made a buttermilk chicken. And then after that, I worked at a lot of mom and pop type restaurants. And I just want to hold this up and show everybody. Okay, so starting to look good. And then I went on to work at a lot of different restaurants out in the Hamptons. And then I also became the head lunch chef in a restaurant in Southampton when I was 18 years old. So I was the head lunch chef there, 18 years old. I stayed there 3 years. And then they saw the job that I was doing. And they came to me and they said, would you like to take over the restaurant? So at 21, I took over the restaurant and I did every single thing for it. Hiring, firing, ordering, everything. So any of you kids out there that are, you guys are teens, you're not kids anymore, okay? And we probably have some adults on there. But if you want to be a chef, it is a great career. It is long hours on the feet, but there's a lot of different ways that you can use your culinary skills. And it could just be at home. So I'm glad you are watching today. So I have my broccoli in here, my orzo, my carrots. The carrots I cut about 1 inch thick, okay, maybe a slight little less. And I drop it into boiling water and then I rinse it with cold water quickly so that way they get nice and cold, okay? So I am gonna put in some carrots. There is no rhyme or reason that why you put 3 carrots in, 2 carrots in. It depends on what you really like, okay? So the color is really gonna start picking up here, okay? Now I'm just gonna take some beautiful asparagus that I have. A lot of times in the summertime, the asparagus is not good, but look at this beautiful asparagus, okay? So I steam this just for a couple minutes. It still has a nice little bite to it. I always take the ends off, and then when I cut the ends off, if I'm not ready to use it yet, I will put them in a little glass like this, okay? And almost treat it like a nice bouquet of flowers. And every day you cut a little off the bottom and they will stay nice and fresh and you can keep them right in your refrigerator. If anybody, again, has any questions, please let me know, okay? That's why you're on here, to learn. And you know, I learn from you guys too. You always give suggestions and I'd be like, that's a great idea.
Someone asks, is the broccoli steamed before you add it to the orzo?
Yes, it is. Yes, all these vegetables you need to cook ahead of time, okay? So you could, if you're having a party, say tomorrow, do all the vegetables in advance, do them today. You can boil the pasta yesterday, but get it real cold, real quick. That way it lasts a lot longer. Okay, so I want to show everybody where we're at with this. Does that look really nice? I'm going to use a bell pepper. This is a huge bell pepper. So I'm just going to put in about half of this because it is so big. You do want to take this little white part out, the little pits. And then this little white right here has a little bitterness to it. Now, a lot of times you'll see on TV, the chefs kind of go like this, cutting it just like that. I actually tend to like to turn it over just like this. And the reason I do is these little grooves right inside these red peppers or green peppers, it actually lets the knife kind of get in there, especially if you have a dull knife. You can slip on a shiny part like this. You can go like that really quick. On the inside, you won't do that. Well, there's less of a chance. So I'm just going to cut this into bite-sized pieces. That way, again, it is nice to easy to eat. Getting that color going. Whenever I make this recipe, whether it was when I was in the restaurant, when I was at libraries teaching children, teens, or the adults, they absolutely say, I made that pasta dish, the Asian Orzo salad, and it was delicious. So they really, really liked it. Now I'm going to add some water chestnuts to it. Water chestnuts, you can buy a small can just like this, cost a little over $1, okay? They have a nice crunch to it, so it adds a nice crunch to this salad. If you don't like the water chestnuts, you don't have to put them in. That's what's really good about this recipe.
Someone asks, how long do you steam the veggies so you keep a snap to them?
If you cut them about this size right here, about 2 to 3 minutes in boiling water, and that is it. And then run it under cold water really quickly. And then put it in, towards the back of the refrigerator, because that is the coldest spot in the refrigerator. Okay.
You said thanks.
You are welcome. So I am just going to give these a rough chop. That way they kind of go throughout, and all your bites, you kind of just get a nice crunch throughout it. Again, vegetarian, chicken, shrimp in this, all of it will work. Okay. I'm just going to clean my cutting board right here, and then I'm going to cut some chicken up. Now the chicken, you can use the rotisserie chicken. Like let's say you go to a Costco or something like that and you have rotisserie left over, add it right in here. Or you can grill some chicken cutlets. You can just roast it, or you can poach it, okay? Whatever way you want to do it. The most important thing though is that when you put this temperature thermometer in, you want it to be 165. That means it's fully cooked all the way through. Now, sometimes you'll get a rotisserie chicken and you'll come back and you'll say, oh, it's still red inside. I have to cook it some more. Believe it or not, you probably don't have to cook it anymore. Pink chicken sometimes is safe to eat. And the reason I say that is, again, if it's to 165, the thermometer, it is safe to eat, because if it is pink inside and it does read the 165, it means there's a lot of salt in the meat, okay? A lot of the rotisserie chickens, they have so much flavor. It's very moist, very tender, but they pump in like chicken broth and it keeps the meat pink, okay? Think about pork. A lot of people will say, I don't want to eat a little pink in the pork. That is the same way. Some of those pork tenderloins, they're marinated and they keep a pinkness in them, okay? If you think of bacon, bacon is red, right? You eat bacon, it's the same thing. So try not to let the pink fool you as long as the thermometer really works. Chris says we have a
We
question.
have 2 questions.
Sure.
Someone asks, what type of chicken do you tend to use when you make this chicken?
I use usually any type of chicken that I do have. If I had some grilled chicken left over from last night, I would use that. Again, the rotisserie chicken is perfect in here. A little of the white and dark meat in here is really good. You can poach the chicken. So any of that works. As long as it's not overcooked. Don't overcook it. That's the thing.
And the other question is, can you put the vegetables in a steamer rather than boil them?
Absolutely. Yes, you can. Just make sure you leave a little snap to it, okay? You don't want it to be mush, okay? So I am going to cut this chicken up into little chunks. Again, I want it to be easy to eat. And this You could put a pound and a half to this, and that would be fine. Now, my favorite chicken to eat is Bell & Evans chicken. You will pay the price for Bell & Evans, though. Bell & Evans, I think you guys probably have it in New Jersey. Bell & Evans is typically about $7.99 for chicken cutlets. So I don't use it for everything, but it is really delicious. If you ever want to treat yourself, buy it. Just kind of plain grill it and taste the really good chicken. The $1.99 chicken, usually you have to marinate it. You have to chicken parmesan with it, and it's all good for that. But if you just want nice, beautiful chicken, Bell & Evans.
So next, will this taste good with tuna instead of chicken?
Tuna? Yeah, I wouldn't see why not. You know, whether it's the canned tuna or whether it's like a grilled, like yellowfin tuna, that would be perfect in here. So I am just gonna mix this all up, and as you can see, 1 pound of pasta starts really expanding. Okay, and you could end up having this for days. Okay, one of the things that I do with chicken cutlets, though, is before I cut them, when they're raw, I throw them into the freezer, because throwing them into the freezer, I don't want to get them frozen, but I want a little frost on them, makes it nice and solid. And then if I want to thin slice them, I can get 2 to 3 slices out of one chicken cutlet. Okay, it's not being cheap. It's more that you're not going to get cut because it has a little frost and it slices really nice and easy. Yes, Chris.
Someone asks, will this be okay with dark meat chicken instead of white meat?
Absolutely. It's a preference. It's what you like. Yep. It's all good. Now, cooked chicken, let me start with raw chicken first. Raw chicken, after it's been opened from the container that you buy in the supermarkets, it's only good for about 2 days in the refrigerator. It will start getting bacteria on it that quickly. But after you cook it, you have 3 to 5 days to enjoy it. After that, it will get a little bit of a slime to it, so be really careful. The biggest thing, keep it cold. Keep everything ice cold until you're ready to use it, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go on to the scallions. I wanna show everybody these scallions. These are beautiful local scallions. Okay, do you see these roots right here? Now these roots right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these ends off. Just like that. Okay. Now, anybody out there have any ideas what I should do with these roots? So I'll wait a second. I'm gonna see if we get anybody to comment on it.
Use them to grow more scallions.
Absolutely, perfect. So what you do is you take these scallions, and when I'm done with this class, what I will do is go outside into a nice sunny spot, put them in some soil, make sure you water them, and you will never buy scallions ever again, okay? I promise you. They're that good, okay? And they will come back and just keep growing.
Yeah, someone guessed stick them in water and someone else said plant them.
Stick them in water is also a good answer. You put them in water. The one thing with sticking them in water, gets a little slimy at the roots, so you kind of got to keep changing that cup of water. To me, when you put it outside, as long as you don't have deer around the area, you're okay. Do you have deer in Long Branch? I mean, let me know if you have deer there.
Someone asked,
We have deer here. Yes.
too many. Someone asked root end down or up when you plant.
Root down, just like this. Because what's going to happen is this is going to take off just like this. So now on the scallion, you're going to use this really strong onion part. And then as it goes down on the green, and I cut a little of this here, this all here is good. Okay, the real tops of the scallions you don't want to use. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a rough chop. And then these will go in to our salad. And then we're going to make a dressing. The dressing is very, very simple, but has so much flavor. I again, the scallions, it can be as much or as little as you want, okay?
Someone said they will grow like crazy in a very short period of time. Maybe they
Yup.
tried it.
Okay, so I'm just going to toss these scallions in here. Okay, perfect. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to make some dressing. Leave this right over here. Again, remember the dressing is very, very easy to make. But if you ever make baked ziti at home, what happens is when you make it that day, the pasta has all the sauce on it, and then you put it in the refrigerator. The next day you go to it, the pasta kind of absorbs all that sauce. This will do the same thing, this dish here. So make a little extra dressing to have for the next day just to freshen it up a little. Okay.
Oh, I just saw a question. Someone asked, how long does it take for scallion root to grow big enough to use?
Probably about within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks.
And someone asks, is there a substitute for Hoisin dressing? Is it necessary?
Yes, please buy it, okay? I have a huge can of it because all the classes I do, but go to the international aisle right next to the soy sauce. There's a little jar just like this. It's probably about $2.69, right around that. They always have it, but the Hoison really makes this, okay? So I am going to use a half cup of vegetable oil. For this dressing, you can't use the olive oil. There's certain dressing that just will not work with olive oil. Sometimes, like if you're making a citrus type of dressing, you need the extra virgin olive oil. So a half cup. And then I want 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. You can use seasoned or unseasoned rice wine vinegar, but please get this, okay? Buy this bottle. You'll be so happy when you make this, and then you use it. Buy the smallest bottle you see. 3 tablespoons. Now, in cooking doesn't have to be exact like baking. Baking really needs to be exact, okay? Now, I'm going to add in some soy sauce. I'm adding 2 tablespoons now. 1, 2, okay. And now 2 tablespoons of the Hoisin sauce. If you can see, look at, it's like a glaze. So if you ever go and you have like the General's chicken, something like that, that is what they are using, okay? It has a lot of flavor, but it also has a lot of salt in it, okay? So just know that. Now, if you are salt restricted or want to be careful on it, add 1 tablespoon, okay? You can always adapt it to your style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour half of this on this salad now, and you're going to see it looks like almost like a syrup, okay? Almost like a glaze. Now I still have a little dressing left, but I don't want it to be too salty. So, and now by having gloves, what I can do is toss it with my gloves, get it really mixed up really well.
Someone asks, can you use canola oil, and are you using seasoned or unseasoned rice wine vinegar today?
This, I'm using the unseasoned. The only difference between the two of them is one has a little salt and sugar in there, and that's really it. That's why I said either one would be fine. Okay, so if you could see this, boy, if you were here, everybody would be eating really well, I promise you. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down here.
Yep, someone said, wish I were there eating.
Now, one of the things that you could do with this salad is, you know those little plastic cups that, you know, you have the drinks in the summertime? If you put some of this salad in a plastic cup, I want to get some of all these veggies in there, okay? Put it in a plastic cup, and when you have like a barbecue, a block party, something like that, people can go around and just kind of spoon it and eat it and on the go and then just throw that cup right out. Okay, it's really, really good. Now, one of the things that I like to finish it off with is almonds. And now, always toast any nut that you are using, okay? Whether it's pistachio nuts, walnuts, pecans, pinoli nuts, or almonds. Almonds is what I'm using, okay? So what I would do is I take some of these almonds, I would throw it into a pan like this or on a baking sheet in the oven, okay? And then just every once in a while on a burner like this, just kind of get it nice and tossed, okay? Move that around until it gets a nice brown coating, just like that. And then by doing that, what you do is just sprinkle these on the salad, just like that. It gives it a nice crunch, nice topping, but put it on at the very end because as soon as it gets kind of mixed in, it starts softening, you lose that effect. As soon as you are done with any nut that you have toasted, put them into your freezer, okay? The reason I say that is like if you're baking now and then you're not gonna bake till say the holidays, those nuts will probably go rancid, okay? It gets a very bad taste to it, okay? So you wanna be really, really careful with that. You can take nuts out of the freezer, drop it right into cake batter, anything like that, okay?
So next, you add oil to the pan to toast the almonds.
You could like give it a quick spray or like just like a dot of oil and that would be it. If I'm doing a big batch, which I normally am doing a big batch, I would take some parchment paper, put it right on here, and I would spread them really evenly on here, and about 350 for about 10 minutes, okay, on this pan, and they will be nice and golden, just like this bowl right here. You can see the bowl right in here. Okay. Now, I do want to tell everybody some more about myself and things that I do, okay? I'm just going to bring this up here. So let me just bring up this finished dish first, okay? And again, I hope you and your family will make this because you will be so happy. You know what I'm having for dinner tonight, don't you? Right? And I have a little dressing left, okay? So if I thought, all right, it's a little light in there, I just take a little more. It should almost have almost close to like a honey effect, okay? Where it has almost like a syrup type of effect to it. Okay. So I think when I first started doing this program today, I had left off where I was a head chef at when I was 21, and I stayed at that restaurant for 15 years. After the 15 years, I got kind of burnt out from it, and you will do that in almost any job, especially the restaurant business. So then what I did was I told my wife, I said, I want to go do something. And I want to do something else. And she said, okay, whatever you do, you're gonna be fine with. So I went and I managed a toy store. Yep. I said, I'm done with the restaurant for right now. And I went and I managed a toy store for 2 years. And I had a great time, but the money wasn't there, you know, in the retail. So I stayed there for 2 years, and then I had my first son on the way. I said, all right, it's time for me to get back into the food industry. And I had an interview to be a personal chef for the man that created the phone book. You know that thing we don't use anymore, right? So I interviewed with him, and you know, I was there probably an hour and a half, and the next day he called me and he said, I'd like to offer you the position. Could you start this weekend? And I said, I would love to, but please respect me that I want to give 2 weeks notice to my job that I'm at now. And absolutely, and he was like, that was great. So I actually cooked for this couple out on the North Fork of Long Island for 14 years, being their personal chef. Martha Stewart came there once. So, and I have also, at my restaurant, I had Billy Joel there, Alan Alda, let's see, a lot of the newscasters, Bill Butel, Susan Lucci, right? She got an award, didn't she get one? Right? She finally got one. And then after that, he had passed away. I had Hampton Bays Library, my hometown, come to me and say, would you want to do a cooking program here? And I said, sure, I'd love to do a cooking program. So I went, I did the cook. Well, she had said to me, how much do you charge? I said, what do you mean charge? I said, my boys are in and out of here all the time. I said, I don't charge you nothing. I'm just going to do it for you. So she said, no, you got to charge. I said, well, whatever you give me is fine. I wasn't worried about that. So I did the program. And then after that, I had 2 more calls from other libraries. I think like a word got out saying like, oh, you know, he does a nice job and all that. So I got 2 more calls. And then I said to my wife, I said, I really like this. I said, I want to work with the libraries. So then I started calling all the different libraries on Long Island, and my phone exploded. And right now, in-person libraries, I go to over 90 different libraries. Before this pandemic, I was booked through the end of 2021. I had not one date open. But now that we are virtual, and when it was really slow in March, I said, I am going to reach out to other states, because then you get to see other dishes that you might not have gotten to see. So I reached out to New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and all the way up to Niagara Falls. And I can't tell you the response. It's been overwhelming, so good. And I want to thank Makisha for having me at the Long Branch Public Library, and give me the opportunity to come there. And Chris is saying that we have a question, but I want it just 1 second, then I will get to that, because otherwise I'll forget my story. I don't want to forget my story. And then besides doing this, my son and I, we have actually been working with chefs in Italy, Santorini, Greece, Turkey, and Hungary. And what we do is we teach them one of our dishes, and they teach us one of theirs. So we kind of trade dishes, and I bring them to the libraries, and then they use mine however way they want to use them over there. It might be just for dinner. It might be to do their classes too. And they do a lot of food tours. So yes, Chris.
The question is, what did you serve Martha Stewart?
What did I serve Martha Stewart? Well, she was actually over there for a garden tour. And I remember more of the other ones, but Martha Stewart, she was over for a garden tour. And I was making these cocoa oatmeal cookies that I make all the time. Okay, I do this at all the libraries. And I hope to do it with you guys too in Long Branch. You will love this cookie, I promise. So I made them. They had about 200 guests there. I saw Martha Stewart go over to the tray. She took one of the cookies, and I said, okay, I'm going to see the Martha test now, see if it passes. So I didn't know if she was going to finish the whole cookie or throw it into the bush, So she ate the cookie, and I saw her on the way out put another one and take it and put it in her pocket for later. So it was pretty funny. So
someone asked, do you have any programs tied in for holiday recipes?
I do, yes. I do programs depending on the season. I do pumpkin. I do apples. I'm doing Italian Heritage Month for October. I actually do spaghetti muffins, which is a class you have to go see, do, whatever it may be. It's really, really good. I do Thanksgiving programs. I do holiday hors d'oeuvres. I even do Super Bowl food. So I have something all year long. I do stews, everything like that. I do this on YouTube for a private link for just the libraries. I also do Zoom and Facebook Live as well. Again, my page is simply Creative Chef Rob. And I want to show you one thing before we go, okay? When I was a personal chef, I always like to decorate the plates really, really nicely. So what I would do is I would take a potato just like this. I would take like this metal apple core. You can get it at Walmart, Target, Amazon. Put it in about halfway to 3/4 of the way. Put this in. And now I'm just going to put this right here. And I am taking my knife and I am rolling it right on the metal bar. So yes, I am dulling my knife, but I'm not worried. It's for you guys. Okay, so then what I will do, I push off of it, And now I have a mushroom potato. So what I will do with this, I'll brush it with some olive oil, kosher salt, and black pepper, and I will roast it in a 400 oven for about 40 to 45 minutes, just until like it's fork tender. It's nice and crisp out here, but nice and knife or fork tender.
Yeah, someone guessed a mushroom, and then someone said, "Oh, cute."
Thank you, thank you. So do we have any last questions before we go?
Someone asked, "Any pumpkin classes coming up?"
Absolutely. I have pumpkin pie scones, pumpkin bread. I have a pumpkin soup with a chili cranapple relish. And then I also have pumpkin chocolate chip cookies as well. So I have a lot. And then I have a lot of apple cookies. Apple programs. And they are apple pie calzones. You ever had an apple pie calzone? My son's putting his hand up saying, yes, he has. Yeah. So, yes, I have a lot of them. Please go to my Facebook page, Simply Creative Chef Rob. Again, Nikisha, thank you so much for making the call to me and calling me and having me feel library. I truly appreciate it. I hope you folks stay very safe where you are. And thank you so much. And please follow me. And if you want to make a blueberry muffin bread tomorrow night, go to the Hicksville Public Library Facebook page at 7 o'clock. Okay, you can make it along with me or you can just watch. That's the Hicksville Public Library. It's in New York, but it's virtual, so you can go on there. Okay, so please watch. Any final comments or questions?
Someone said, "Thank you." Someone else said, "Thanks, great tips. Thanks to the library for hosting." Someone else said, "Very nice job." And someone else said, "Thank you."
You're also welcome. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And Nikisha, remember, I'm going to someday go by Long Branch again. And I'm going to make that turn and I'm going to come in and say hello.
You definitely should.
Thank you so much.
And thank you. I really appreciate having you today.
Thank you so much. And I do as well. So everybody stay well. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.